Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back to Story Time with the Intimacy Ally. It's me, Jenny Simus Leety, the Intimacy Ally, and today is volume 2 of Kinksplain NOT Kink Shame, my little side bonus series for ya. Yay! Um, Today, I'm diving into a couple, or rather, I'm diving into 3 that all actually intrigue me. So that's kind of fun. We are going to cover the letters D, E, and F as we take our susical journey on kink. um, let's see what got me here. So for D, we have damsel in distress, also known as DID. I picked this one mostly because I heart alliteration. So, damsel in distress. Yeah. Um, but also because this can be such a natural progression into power dynamics and bondage play. So, basically, you're thinking of it, a person comes across another person, or a person is led to another person who is somehow bound, and they got into that situation not of their own volition. Generally, you can have this with fantasies about being kidnapped, being left for someone to discover. Let's see. What's another good one? Oh, think about the girl on the train tracks. There you go. That's a damsel in distress for you, right? It can work for many players. Like, you could have multiple partners involved. One could be the person who did the tying up. Another could be the person who does the rescuing. You can be discovered bound prior to the scene, or tying up the damsel could be part of the engagement within the kink scene. There could even be an opportunity to incorporate the damsel in distress into cuckolding play. Like, let's say the scene begins with someone entering and taking, the person who's going to be the damsel from the other person who is involved in the couple. Uh, Generally, I would say it's going to be a woman, but that's kind of small-minded to think that way. I do often wonder how to play around with gender roles, and I wonder how fun it would be to have, the damsel be a dudesel. Uh, that's something you can all think about and chew on. Let's see. Damsel in distress enthusiasts actually prefer white rope or clothesline to do the binding, versus like some other BDSM gear like handcuffs or leather straps, that kind of thing. Simply because a lot of this is kind of based in that like 1950s look, that Betty Page look. Oh, who took those pictures? Paula and Irving Claw, I think, took these amazing pictures. They're so iconic now. If you are any kind of interested in seeing what's like super duper hot about somebody being bound up, take a look at Betty Page's pictures where she is bound with clothesline. Yummy. It's an incredibly versatile and rather inexpensive kink. You don't have to buy elaborate costumes. I mean, if you are into making your scene rather elaborate, you could. You could buy elaborate costumes and scenery, but really, you could totally let your imagination do a lot of the work and just get into that feeling of rescuing and rescuer. Um, it requires an incredible amount of trust, though. Any time that you are giving yourself over, anytime that you are allowing yourself to be bound, disabled, any kind of impact play that might happen, you are in a situation where there needs to be unconditional trust. And that is why in the kink community, like, negotiation happens over and over and over again, because you might have been okay being tied up last weekend, but maybe you don't fucking want to be this weekend. So consent is a thing that is ever evolving. And even if you said yes to something 5 minutes before you started the scene, it doesn't mean, yeah, I know my lips got dry. It doesn't mean that you're going to continue to want to do that. So, the next thing that I want to talk about is E. E is for exhibitionism. If you have ever been to a kinky party, odds are you have seen or perhaps partaken in some sort of exhibitionist behavior. I know anytime I have gone to a club or a pleasure club or a sex party, yeah, you're gonna see some people engaged in sexual activity. And part of the beauty of exhibitionism is that you can get off not just from performing sex acts, but also from having your sex acts observed by others. It's like this next level of provocative sexual gratification, right? It all comes down to like fantasizing that you want people to experience desire by viewing you through a sexualized lens. Now, it doesn't have to be engaging in sexual activity in front of others. It can be as simple as, sharing a nude photograph of yourself, or, a suggestive even pic of yourself. Another way could be sharing videos of you and your partner or partners. It could be sharing videos and pics of you pleasuring yourself, right? Uh, Recording a strip tease. There's lots of ways that you can get into this. Being nude or performing any sexual act alone in front of others or with a partner in front of others. Like, this is exhibitionism. There's so many different varieties of examples of how you could use this to pump up your sex life, right? Now, let's get this really, really straight right now. I am not encouraging you to go flash people. I am not encouraging you to go have sex on your front lawn in front of your neighbors and their kids. No. Don't get it twisted. Don't tell people that the Intimacy Ally sent you down this salacious road. I am talking about exhibitionism that is consented by both the performers and the observers. Okay. So don't go around trying to make other people cringe with your behavior. Okay. That is not cool. Let's see. Oh, it could also be as innocent as PDA, like public displays of affection. If you just get real kissy with someone, that could be a form of exhibitionism. Now, uh, on the other end of the spectrum, you've got the swinging, you've got swapping, you've got going to a sex party. Like, that's way on the other side. Like, PDA's over here and you're way over here. And in between, there's all these different levels of how you could get to fulfill this fantasy, to experience what it's like to be desired because you are this sexual being. Like I said, just do your damnedest to like not be a dick and try to throw this at people and, end up hurting somebody, either emotionally or physically. Let's see. Reasons that people like this, according to Very Well Mind, and I'll link this article in the show notes. The feedback can be incredibly validating. It reminds you that you feel sexy in your body. There is power in putting on a show. Financially, it could be rewarding if you were to take up, like, say, an OnlyFans or maybe a Patreon where you perform and allow people to watch. And it can just be sensual, not sexual in nature. It doesn't have to be outright uh, full on sexual. I hope that makes sense. All right. The last one we got for today is F. F is for flogging. And every time I hear the word flogging, no matter what context it's in, I could be sitting at like a sexology summit or a sexual wellness conference, and I hear flogging, and immediately I say, Molly. And if you don't, well, I feel sorry for you because you have not heard one of the most amazing bands. So go ahead and look up Flogging Molly after this. I could rattle off some favorites if you really want to know. Go ahead and shoot me a message. All right. So back on track. F is for flogging. Now, anytime I talk about this, I want people to know that while you see these tools that people use, and a flogger is very distinctive. It's got the handle, it's got the what are they called? The falls, the little pieces that come off. And I imagine that people think it's very easy to use them and that it will be super duper fun and super duper spicy. And we should just run into this and just go get one. Because, I mean, they really are available in so many spots. You know, you go to a sex shop, either in person or online, they're all over the place, right? I highly recommend that if you are getting into this, if you are in the kink community, go ahead and seek out somebody who's got a few years on you that you trust, who you could look to for advice on how to handle flogging, because it can really, really get out of hand fast. And also, you can damage your partner's kidneys if you do it incorrectly. So, with that said, I will be linking in the show notes a couple of professionals who I know who do this work. And I will hope that you reach out to them if flogging is something that you want in your sex life. They can train you pretty easily, and they're experts. So, yeah. Let's see. So, according to an article in Extra Magazine, and I will absolutely share that in the show notes as well. I just really liked these quotes. So, a sharp, stinging pain will cause your body to release adrenaline. A dull, thudding blow will cause your body to release endorphins. And guess what? Flogging can give you both. Depending on how the hit lands, it can be either sharp or dull. Now, most people receive flogging on the back. You can do it on different parts of the body, breast, thigh, stomach. But really, when it comes to impact play, I cannot strongly recommend this enough. And I know I'm beating a dead horse here. I really, really do suggest that you take a class, even if it's just going to one that's just replayed online. MX Sizzle, I guess that's Mix Sizzle, does racks on racks. And I know that my friend Julia is also a person who you could get this training from. I can't recommend it highly enough. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about the kink itself before I got to rush out of here because, these are fast. It's a form of impact play. Like I said, most sex shops and in-person online shops sell floggers. They're one of the most recognizable BDSM tools there are. The handle should be about the same weight as the falls, and you want to work on your technique to make sure that the falls are kind of connecting at the same time. Let's see, a little history about flogging. You know, used since the 14th century as a BDSM practice that we know of. In 1725, New Canting Dictionary, men who wanted to make these fantasies realities were called cullies, and they often experienced erectile dysfunction and thought that flogging was a way to cure it. In the 19th century, we saw the introduction of pro doms who were starting to use it as like impact play and discipline. And really, I mean, it's just a really great way to experience some pain with your pleasure. And that's about all I got to say about it. So I hoped you enjoyed this episode where we had our volume 2 of Kinksplain Not Kink Shame. And thank you so much for joining me for Story Time with the Intimacy Ally, where we say fuck no to the status quo. Bye, my lovelies.